This is the 5 Point Play Podcast, the iHeart Duke Basketball Fans Podcast. AC drinking a little red wine tonight.
Feeling good, man. I'm feeling real good after that Louisville win. You know, very different, I guess, from the rest of Duke Nation. I feel great.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the blowout that I think some of our fans were predicting. 83-69. It got a little tight there in the second half for sure. We were up 18 at one point in the first half, thought we were going to blow them out, and then we kind of got a little lazy, and some things happened, and it's just gonna be how it is. It's January basketball. This is how it goes. We tried to warn everybody, but look, a win's a win. I thought John Shire kind of summed it up really well. That he was happy with that game because they faced some adversity, they weathered the storm, and they were able to kind of extend that lead toward the the last 3 minutes of that game, which is huge, and it was kind of everybody. Obviously, Proctor had a huge game that was crucial for him and for the team. Flip did what he normally does, wasn't his best performance, but he made some plays. Jared McCain hit a huge three and started chirping some of the fans, so that was great to see. And then obviously Sean Stewart, what more can you say? The kid obviously had a great week of practice last week, according to Shire, and he earned his minutes and he made the most of them, something that we've been harping on over the last few weeks. So we're down Jack, we're down D tonight, but we got the three-man weave here with AC and Pablo. Coach, I got to ask you first, what did you like, what did you not like from the game against Louisville?
Well, I mean, obviously, I liked our offense, and we got back to, moving the ball, having a lot of player movement, got back to, our pick and roll sets, short roll and flip out of those sets, and just creating and stuff. Obviously, I liked our shooting, attacking the rim. As far as what I didn't like, man, I think we just got to stay consistent with like our defense just throughout the whole game. You know what I mean? We kind of like AC kind of mentioned, like we kind of let our foot up off the gas a little bit, but we can't do that against teams like that. We just got to crush them and then just move on to the next game. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't give them any kind of light or whatever the case may be, because if that was a better team, we possibly could lose that game. You know what I mean? Just by playing lazy towards the end of the game or whatever. But overall, good win. Louisville isn't as bad as people say they are, but at the same time, they're not.
Full of 4 stars and 5 stars, man. Full of them. Full of talent.
For sure. They're definitely talented. I think they just have a little, a couple chemistry issues over there.
No.
That's some things that obviously they could fix on the other side, coaching wise. But at the same time, I think they'll get it together. Basketball is always better when Louisville is good. But I'm glad we won.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if Jack was here, he would have disagreed with you there, Pablo. But he's not here, so he can't take a shot.
He's watching the Duke women smash Florida State.
That's true. That was a huge. I just saw that. Huge win.
They beat the shit out of Tech too.
Was that?
Kara's got him going. Coach K's got him going.
Yeah. She's doing well. It took a little bit of time, but hopefully they can kind of pick up where they left off and start playing better. But Mark Mitchell, speaking of which, coming off a couple of games and where he didn't play and just picked up right where he left off. 20 points, 12 rebounds. I thought he did a lot of things defensively that were great. If he's going to be putting up double doubles, man, we're going to be tough to beat.
Not only him, but I mean him and Flip both. Like two cats with double doubles, that's a rarity for Duke. Yeah. And again, just playing the all court game, playing so well. And as we talked about a couple podcasts ago, you're going to start seeing teams stop with the sag defense and everything you saw here, and that allowed John to create a lineup with Sean Stewart, Mark Mitchell, and Kyle Filipowski on the floor, which is amazing. It's an amazing counteraction to the 4-guard lineup that you'll see us probably continue to run. Pablo mentioned the short roll. We brought that back. He mentioned that before the game too. It's obviously that's our bread and butter. That's our go-to. I think we went away from it for a few games, quite honestly, by design. I think we needed to play and win some games without having to utilize it. So we created some other shit, and we've done that now, and we've proven we can go right back to the short because it's inconsistent as we played and letting them back in the game and everything else. I mean, you saw how we ran away with it at the end. It was just, supreme talent. Yeah, Flip had a bad game a little bit to start the game, but still rebounded like a monster, played defense, and at the end of the game, closed the game out with a great segment where you have like 7 or 8 points and like 4 possessions or something like that for us.
Right.
So,
And that was the finish with 17 and 15, and that was a bad night for him.
That's what I'm saying. And like in March, that's the thing, right? I think everybody wants a jump to tip game where you're playing like an All-American every single possession. It's not going to happen. But these guys are proven that in big time minutes and in big time segments, they can do what's needed to pull a game out. So that's something you need in March as well. If the shots aren't falling or if your overall game's not falling, we saw it against Baylor too. We saw him have a rough night against Baylor and be able to just come back and finish the game out. So I'm not concerned. And in terms of things not liking to see during the game, honestly, we were up 18. Roach went out. I think that did clearly affect the team. I guess if there's one thing that you want to say, then they just have to be able to deal with that team adversity where if somebody major goes out, they got to be able to step up because it happens. Injuries happen, and you never know who it's going to happen to. So you just got the next man up. But we have enough talent to be able to counteract all the injuries we could possibly have on the team, except for probably Flip and Mark Mitchell. We have the bodies to counteract the rest of it. So.
Yeah, no doubt. I thought that that definitely set us back, as Coach K used to say, when Roach went out, because we were cooking.
Mm-hmm.
We were up 18, and he was
having a monster game.
Yeah, he had 10 points in 17 minutes and didn't even play in the second half, except for the first minute before he had to get subbed out. But, I thought it was good to see Proctor be that guy to step up. Yeah. I know that he missed his free throws, but, he hit a couple clutch shots, a couple clutch threes. Mm-hmm. And
he'll hit those free throws down the stretch too. He will.
Proven
almost 90% free throw shooter.
Right. It's frustrating in the moment, but certainly I know that he'll hit him down the stretch. He was having one of those Jason Williams games, doing everything but hitting the free throws. But you brought up the kind of like the pick and roll that is really our bread and butter play, especially when we need a bucket. It's usually Flip and Jeremy, but I thought actually. Proctor and Flip did a great job of that against Louisville. So that was great to see.
And I think just to touch on it real quick before we go to Pops, I think with the short roll, obviously Flip and Jeremy have created such great chemistry with it, and even Jeremy Ryan Young. Jeremy has run the short roll. Pablo pointed this out on Twitter. Has run the short roll masterfully this year to the tune of him, being a plus 40% 3-point shooter. Everything else that he's doing. But I think Tyrese Proctor could be even better in the short roll than Germ just because of the size, just because of the ability to look over the defense at 6'5", and just his wizardry with the ball. I think he has potential to be even better in the short roll than Germ by the end of the season.
Actually, the same question I was going to ask Pablo is, where can Proctor kind of do what Roach does, because he does it well, but maybe exceed it because of the talent that Proctor has, and not to mention being 4', 6'5", when Jeremy's pushing 6 feet.
Yeah, so obviously, the thing about it though is that Jeremy, I'll put it like this: if you put Jeremy Roach's mentality into Tyrese Proctor's head, that would be fucking amazing. You know what I'm saying? That's the exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's an NBA fucking top 10 pick. You know what I'm saying? If you was to do that,
that's the only reason. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and that's the only reason why I feel like, like Jeremy and Flip is a little more dangerous than Tyrese and Flip is, because Tyrese is looking to pass almost every time out of that. You know what I'm saying? And defenses, just through scouting, they're gonna pick up on that eventually. You know what I'm saying? But he just, like you mentioned, he's so big and he's so and he's so, the stuff that he does is just a little, he just got more size than Jeremy. But Jeremy, his mentality is about he's scoring first, you know what I'm saying, and passing second. So that's what makes those two a little more deadly. But that's not, it still goes to say, like, Flip and Proctor and Tyrese is still very, very deadly. You know what I'm saying?
And I agree with you 100%. I think right now, I think you're right. I think right now, Jeremy and Flip in the short roll, just the chemistry they've created with it, Tyrese being out, the chemistry they've created with everything else, right now that surpasses anything that Rese is doing with Flip on the floor at the moment. I'm
For
just saying
sure.
potentially. I think if we're talking March, if we're talking this team being built for March, I think potentially if Tyrese starts getting into this takeover mode, I think potentially he could be he could operate the short roll even better than what Jerem has done, which is that's hard to even think about. As good as it's been.
They're just really different, man. They're just two
They are.
different players. You know what I'm saying?
They
There's
are.
two different players, and just like Jeremy is he doesn't, you know what I mean? He doesn't waste any time. You know what I mean? He's, you know what I mean, set the screen, I'm getting to it. You know what I'm saying? Tyrese is more set the screen. Okay, I'll come around, I'll probe a little bit, I'll take a couple more dribbles than I need to, I'll hang it, hesitation, and then okay, I'm in the lane. Okay, now I'm dishing. You know what I'm saying? Where Jeremy is like, all right, screen, okay, bet, boom, I'm coming off your motherfucking hip, shoulder to shoulder, I'm turning the corner, I'm getting to the basket. You know what I'm saying? I'm scoring. Oh, I ain't got it. Okay, I'm dishing now. You know what I mean? So it's just happening a lot faster with Jeremy Roach than it is with Tyrese Proctor. And that's no hit on, you know what I'm saying, on Tyrese, but they're
that's
just
the
two different type
evolution
of
Rese can
players.
make. If Rese can make that evolution, it's if he can make that evolution, we're talking about a championship squad. Like we're talking about a championship squad anyway. We're talking about a championship squad, no doubt. If he makes that evolution, because now you don't have anybody you can guard on the perimeter. You literally have you cannot guard anybody on our team on the perimeter at that point.
Yeah, and that's the good part, man. And I think that you know, if you look at it overall too, all of our guards, all of our ball handlers, you know what I'm saying, like Jared, you know, Jeremy, Tyrese, and Caleb are very good pick and roll players. So, you know what I mean? We're straight. We're set up for success, man. We just gotta continue to do what we got to do and play against the teams that we played and we should beat. We need to crush them. You know what I mean? And the ones that we playing, you know, we got to win those close games. You know, the UNCs and all that. We got to beat these guys. So yeah.
Yeah, the thing with Jeremy is he's so decisive in those pick and roll situations where the Pablo's point, you know, Proctor kind of plays around a little bit, you know, shows off the handles and stuff like that. But you know, to your point earlier, AC, I thought it was a really good one. Is Jeremy and Flip were able to do some of this stuff while Tyrese was out. Obviously, they had last year as well to kind of really, you know, get that camaraderie on pick and roll. But I think Pablo thinks that Jeremy's going to play on Saturday. I think he's going to sit out. But this opportunity could be the same thing for Proctor as it was for Roche earlier, where you know Proctor now is going to be playing that role more with Jeremy potentially being out, and that just gives them more opportunity to kind of get that cohesion
and it's
and
the
be a little
same
bit
thing
more
that happened last year when Roach went out, and Tyrese took over the point guard role last season, and so I mean, you know what I mean, like I if Jeremy can go, then he goes. Like absolutely. Just, if he's not ready and you don't need to rush him back for Clemson, then fuck it. Let Tyrese run it. Let's let him run it. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like let him run it.
Yeah, the other thing is I think it's easy right now with Jeremy playing so good. I think it's easy to kind of almost defer a lot more than he probably should if you're Tyrese. You know, Jeremy Kane was playing really well. He probably was watching a lot of that and being like, I don't want to get it in anybody's way. And all he did was get in his own way. You know, and so I think with Jeremy going out, you know, you want somebody to come in there and step up. And that was what Proctor did. He's like, this is my team. And so it could be a blessing in disguise. You know, hopefully Roche is not out long term. And that is an opportunity for Proctor to finally take that mantle and say, nah, this is my squad. But yeah, Pobbs, I mean, you know, not Caleb Foster tonight, but I'm not worried about him. Are you worried at all about what you saw there? But to me, he's just a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde when it comes to scoring the goal.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm never really worried about Caleb Foster. I mean, I think that just with him, it's just, you know what I mean, he's not only he's a freshman, you know what I mean, but he's trying to find his role too, because at any time he's on the court, you know, you got 2 or 3 other ball handlers, and the thing is like, especially when Tyrese comes in, so it's kind of like, okay, what am I doing now? What am I doing now? You know what I'm saying? So it's just a little different for him, and he's just trying to, you know, he's trying to find his niche. You know what I'm saying? But he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. I mean, because the thing about Caleb Foster, he's gonna show up when we need him to. He's gonna show up when we least expect him to. You know what I'm saying? And drop those 13 to 17 points. You know what I mean? When we least expect him to. So I'm not worried about him at all. All I need him to do is just, you know, run the team the way he's been running the team. Be consistent. And play good defense, and that's what we need out of Caleb Foster.
With as much as the ball was funneling to Rese too, like that wasn't going to be his night. Like the number was being called. I mean, even for McCain, McCain didn't have a good game until this couple again, which you love to see. Just like Jalen Lowe against us with Pitt. Not a great night overall in terms of shooting the ball, but he made impacts all over the court. And then when you needed to make big shots, he made big shots against us. Same thing with McCain, made big shots down the stretch when you needed it, even though the numbers don't say he had a good game. That's why you can't rely on the numbers, because in moments, you step up in moments in college basketball, and that's what it's about. So Foster's going to do all right. I mean, he was fine against Pitt. He's great against Pitt. Like, not worried.
No, I'm not worried either. And I think the beauty is that we have 4 really good guards, and they're all getting significant minutes and experience. So, not that Jeremy needs any more experience, but it's still good experience for Proctor. It's still good experience for Caleb and for McCain. So all those are positives. It wasn't the prettiest game. It was tough to watch a little bit, as a fan, because you feel like a team like Louisville should blow them out. But, that's basketball. It's January basketball. We saw Kentucky get smoked by South Carolina. So, Duke is the only one of 2 teams in the country that have not lost by more than 5 points this year. Yep. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yep. Like, we're talking about a team that, say what you will about their mental toughness at times and, they're great and stuff like that, man. They fight till the end.
That should be a testament to their mental toughness. The fact that they don't just get blown out by teams when they probably could. Like, we probably could have gotten blown out by Georgia Tech and Atlanta. We probably could have gotten beat the brakes off our floor against Arizona. Like,
hey, yo, that was crazy. Hey, yo.
You know what I'm saying? So, that should be a testament to our mental toughness. I know people have called that into question, but I don't question our mental toughness. I really don't, not at all. I think there's lapses. Yes, there are lapses. I think that's college basketball. And again, John is playing right now. He's playing. Like, yes, we are. Like the first couple of games of the season were like the games he played like straightforward the most because we just didn't know what we had. So he just deferred to, let's do it. We need to do a flip. Now the past 14, 15 games we've played, we've really been experimenting with lineups, experimenting with certain offensive sets, things like that. Things we're going to keep, things we're not going to keep. And that's what you do, man. And that's how you build. Like, that's how you don't be the Zion team where you peak in November and then never get better. Like, you continue, like, this team is continuously getting better. I hope people realize that. Like, there's so many things that this team was failing in November that now you can't say that's a weakness for us anymore.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with that for sure. And I think one of the things too is like if you question it like there, only thing I say about Duke, right? The only thing that concerns me at times is just the post presence when Flip isn't really having a good game. You know what I'm saying? That's really the only thing that concerns me. As far as like getting scoring from the post, you know what I'm saying? Like, who else is gonna score in the post other than Flip? And you got Mark. Right. He does this thing, but Mark is more like he's like inside out a lot. You know what I mean? Sure. So he's not just strictly on the block scoring. So that's the only thing that concerns me, and that's why I think it is key for a guy like Sean Stewart's development to happen. Pretty soon. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, at the end of the day, that's a coaching thing. So I think we'll be
one
fine.
thing I'll say about that real quick too is because we've had some games where Flip hasn't scored well in the post and we've been able to hang. Baylor, I keep coming after Baylor, but that's a big that's a big one. That's a big example of against a really, really good team where we couldn't score in the post and we're still able to get tough twos. Like, you talk about the tough twos. We're still able to get tough twos because our guards can get to the lane. Yeah. And we have 4 guards that can attack the basket plus Mark Mitchell. Tell me a team right now in college basketball that has not even 5 defenders that can stop you from the perimeter. 3. Tell me a team in college basketball right now has 3 defenders that can stop 3 really good drivers of the basketball. And then that still leaves 2 more players that can get to the bucket. So even if we can't get the traditional, post bucket for 2 down low, I think we can still finagle our way into some 2-point shots to keep games close.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. But
like you said, but then just adding Sean Stewart now, adding a lob threat, shit like that. Shit.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
I think
if we can get him to turn the corner, we'll be good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, TK.
I was just gonna say real quick before we move on, is that the thing that concerns me a little bit is we do have some stretches there where we're not playing to our strength, which is being able to drive the basketball, get to the lane, get to the foul line, and we settle for some threes. Obviously, we did that against Pitt, especially in that second half, where we kind of broke down a little bit there and started chucking a little threes. Like I'd like to see us, especially Flip. I'd like to see him continue even when the shot's not falling down low. Just keep at it. I don't want him taking more than 3 or 4 threes unless he's hitting. That's just me because I'd like to see him continue to.
He's been on fire, man.
He has, yeah. I mean, obviously it wasn't against Louisville, but I think sometimes he settles though, and then that's why I'd like to see him continue to get to the line, hit his free throws, and keep that presence there.
Going back to Pitt again, like no Roach, no Mitchell, like.
Yeah, no,
we might not have those guys. We might not have them. Mitchell might sit out the random game he does, and Jerm might still have a bad ankle or something. You know what I mean? Like we have to be able to counteract that if we still want to be true champions or whatever. You know what I mean? But you tell me a team that loses that much production and still wins a title, good. Find that for me, seriously.
Yeah, but I mean, outside of Duke losing Boozer.
Right? Seriously, I mean, you saw in the pick game. If we want to use that example, you still saw McCain attacking. Still attacking hard. And again, if Flip isn't scoring down low, I'm gonna get shot for saying it. You do still have somewhat. You can get 4-6 points in the post from Ryan Young if you really need him in segments. You really can get 4 to 6 points from him in the post if you absolutely need him because Flip's in foul trouble or whatever else. You can get 4 to 6 points from Ryan Young that you absolutely need because your guards can still attack. You can still get the other points elsewhere, which you will, and he's opportunistic. Like. I know I'm blanking on it already. What's the game that he basically won for us down the stretch? Was it Notre Dame that he went nuts towards the end of the game? Was that the one that he was killing towards the end of the game? Which one am I thinking about?
I think it was a
couple games ago.
Was it Notre Dame or Syracuse?
No, one Syracuse. Boy, we should probably have known this. Was it Georgia Tech? Was it Georgia Tech at home?
Man, it might have been Georgia Tech. I thought it might have been Notre Dame, but either way, like
it was Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. All right, I was gonna say there was a game recently where everybody was back on the Ryan Young bandwagon.
Yeah,
everybody was ready to jump off, but they were back.
Yeah, it was Georgia Tech. 23 minutes, 10 points, 9 boards.
Yeah, capable. That's all I'm saying. Capable.
Yeah, which is what he is, and that's like sometimes he's going to play poorly, but more often than not, he's going to be who he is. He just had a rough one there. But kind of speaking on to different lineups here, I do want to bring up Sean Stewart. This is a guy that obviously our fans have been clamoring for, but clearly, he wasn't ready. His defense hadn't caught up yet, and it's still a work in progress. But AC, just talk about the impact that not only he had against Louisville, but where you see him going the rest of the season.
I mean, it's what we want. Like it's his impact is obvious. Like it's not a hidden gem. It's not something hidden. It's you have somebody that athletic with the height. Like it speaks for itself. Like anything else you get out of that is gravy. If you get the blocks he gets, the rebounds he gets are gravy. Like if he's just moving his feet, getting in front of people, disrupting pick and roll actions, that's all you need him to do. Any stat that he gets is gravy after that. So now it's a matter of he's starting to get time in January. So now this isn't a situation where like if he came in and started playing in like late February or something, maybe all you get out of him is this. You just get the athletic plays and you get 10 minutes of that. Now he's playing in January, so you actually have a chance to now incorporate him in the offense. You have a chance to incorporate him in switches on defense. You have a chance to do all those things and get him ready for what you need him to do in March. So getting it done this early is good. I know people want to see it done earlier in December and stuff, but again, November and December in college basketball doesn't matter, y'all. It doesn't. Whether you want to say it matters for seeding or whatever else, go ahead and have that argument and throw that party. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like if you're developing a team, then your conference season is where it happens. January is the start of it. February is where you solidify. And by the middle of February, whoever's playing is playing, and that's it. Whatever sets you're running, those are the sets you're going to run. Whatever defense you're running, that's what you're going to do unless something weird happens or you have an injury or you just have something that you've tucked away in the back in the suitcase that you know that you can go to, and then you can just throw it out in March. Like but it's rare that a team is that talented and that good to be able to do that and that cohesive to do that. So at this point, man, like that's why I think we didn't see the short roll for a while, because we were tinkering with offense without the short roll, having to go to that. But we know we can go to it when we need it.
Yeah, I mean, he has 6 rebounds, 2 points, had a huge block. Some people might want to call it, goaltending, but not me. It looked clean to me. But obviously,
refs called it block. Mama called him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
100%. Pablo, you kind of talk about where you'd like to see, because I certainly didn't anticipate him rolling out there with Mitchell and Flip. So kind of talk about his role and kind of where you see John. Yes, insane. Talk about his role, how you see John using him, where would be most advantageous for Sean to be playing out there.
Yeah, so I mean, you just got to look at it from a skill set perspective. I mean, what is he good at? What position can you put Sean in to be successful on the court, and and to incorporate that into team play. What I'm saying, to make it beneficial for everybody out there. So as far as you get him in there short burst, I think he could probably play. Realistically, he could probably play 10 to 15 minutes a game, what I'm saying, and be productive. What I'm saying? I think, as fans, they get so crazy because they want certain players to play just based off of maybe their ranking or what they see on the highlight tape or whatever. But they got to understand it's way more than that. When it comes to basketball, you gotta, what I mean, just like, Shire said in his presser, what I mean? Like, hey, this is his best week of practice. It's no coincidence that he played. What I'm saying? As many minutes that he did. He had his best week of practice. He's showing John Shire, like, hey, I'm starting to pick up now. I'm starting to understand what you need me to do. You know what I mean? And so as a coach, what I'm saying, when you see a player turning a corner like that, you want to play them more. You know what I mean? Because they're earning their minutes now. You know what I mean? And now you can trust them to do certain things. Can you throw him in there for 40 minutes and expect, some kind of crazy production? At this point, I don't think you can. You know what I mean? But I don't want to, at the same time, I don't want to doubt the kid, what I'm saying? But I think like it's every day is just a learning curve for him, and that he's still trying to reach. And I think we're seeing right before our eyes, he's reaching it. You know what I mean? He's turning that corner, so he's gonna play more. You know what I mean? I think we just got to chill out sometimes. That maybe in the next game things don't go his way.
Yeah,
he don't play that much.
Right.
And then how people go, how Duke Nation gonna act. Oh, well,
100%.
John Stewart instead of just shutting the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? And just letting John Shire coach. You know what I mean? They just gonna go crazy with it. So we just got to be patient, man. And if we could get him to play those spot minutes and really be on the floor and be a defensive stopper, or just grab some rebounds and just the energy guy, like kind of like a Henry Coleman when we had Henry Coleman, we could get him to do that. By time it's tournament time, by ACC tournament time, that's gravy, bro. I love it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, that's going to be best for the team.
And not to mention, like, John will never, no coach will ever say this in a press conference. Maybe Calipari. He might be the only one who has the balls to say it. But when coaches have an arsenal of players, they have the ability and the wherewithal sometimes to just hold on a minute, keep a player back for a second. Like, I don't need a bunch of tape on you right now. I don't need everybody to know what you do yet. Like, and quite honestly, I don't think this was like, yes, he said it's coach speak. It's coach speak. He had his best week of practice. That's coach speak. This is not Sean Stewart's only good week of practice, y'all. Like, not saying you were saying that, Pablo. I know on Twitter, the clip of him saying it has been used for people's agenda to be able to say he's not been practicing well. He hasn't been good in practice. BS. It's not about him being bad in practice. It's about, does he have a role? Sometimes naturally the team will shape a role for a player because certain players will fall out of the rotation. Certain players get injured. Certain things happen where roles naturally find themselves. And we talked about this at CTC. Sean didn't have a role. He just didn't. And to be a freshman coming in to be responsible for so many things and learning so many positions and things, it was going to be incredibly hard for him. It's kind of like, if you want to equate, anybody who watches football, if you want to equate it to football, it's like being a rookie tight end in the NFL. You have so many different responsibilities. It's rare that you're going to just be great off the gate. So you need that development time. So this is development, y'all. Everybody complained about one and done for so many years. And then they were like, I want players who develop. And this is development. Y'all forgot about it. Y'all forgot what it felt like to develop. Y'all forgot the Greg Paulus years. This is development. Y'all forgot. Like I know y'all forgot. It's all right. I'm here to remind you. You forgot. This is what development looks like. So, but when you start next year, when Khan or somebody else isn't doing exactly what you want them to do, or John's not playing them as much as you want them to play, just remember, it's not always going to happen right away. Everybody's not Paolo Banchero. Everybody's not Zion, man. They can't all just do it right off the bat.
Even those guys, not so much Zion, he's the exception, but even Paulo, like he had his struggles. He had his struggles. Cam obviously had his struggles. RJ had a few. So that happens, but I think
it's just about the role, though. Their role was solidified.
Sure.
Sean didn't have a role. He has a role now.
Yeah, and it's still developing. And Pablo made a great point when he talked about, you see, 5-star ranking next to his name. That doesn't automatically mean that, first of all, I've said this for a million years. Every class is different. So just because you're a 5-star in one class doesn't mean that you would be a 5-star in another class. Some classes are better, some classes are worse. And each player is on their own track, and so just because you're a 5-star doesn't necessarily mean that you're a one and done guy, or anything like that. But for Sean Stewart, it was clearly about, to your point, figuring out what your role is going to be, figuring out the speed of the game, where do I fit in, and he's still developing that. He's going to take some time, and I think we talked about it in the last podcast. I'd like to see him, kind of be that defender that Ryan Young can't be. Where Ryan Young's great at that hedge, in pick and roll defense. I thought Sean Stewart did a good job of that against Louisville a little bit, and he can go out there and he can guard guards.
Yeah.
You saw Lively do that last year. Crazy, and I'm not saying he's Lively. Obviously, he doesn't have the 7-1 frame, but at the same time, like he's a player that gives us something that no other player on our team can give. Exactly. He jumps out of the gym. He's super athletic, and he hasn't even thrown one down yet. Like we're going to figure out a way to get him involved in that. And when he does, look out. You can tell they want to.
That's why I like January. Him getting this work in January already is because now you have a whole month of basketball to start developing some offense for him too, and some offense plays. Because players, as much as players want to say, I'll just go out and do what I need to do for the team. Motherfuckers like scoring. Everybody likes to score. That's life. Like, so if you can get him some dunks like you're talking about, if he can get his, everybody likes to score. You know what I'm saying? If he can get his mid range jumper, and these are all the things that, like you said, Ryan Young can't do. And you want to replace as much of Ryan Young as you possibly can. As heady as the dude is, as steady as Ryan Young is, you want to replace as much of him as you possibly can, because that just means it's better talent, better athleticism, all the other things across the board. And then you still have this heady 5-year player who can play basketball, in a way that's so fundamental that it's hard to deal with him. So, and he's just at that point he becomes a Band-Aid for the cut that you have. So
right, and that's what we want him to be. And the other part of that is, Ryan Young on the bench is great, because he is a leader and he's a guy that likes to mentor players. And I'm sure he's doing that with Sean Stewart, just like he did with Derek Lively last year, and Flip. So, that's
and he's humble enough to know that these dudes are all better than him. And when his number is called, he's still going to come in and do what Ryan Young does. Like he's still going to. You saw the dive against Pittsburgh, man. Like nobody on the team's dove on the floor for a ball like that. Like that's the shit that Duke fans used to love, and now we're taking it for granted. Like, come on, man. Like, like everybody's mad at Ryan Young. And Ryan Young ain't the problem, man.
No,
mad at Ryan Young. He ain't the problem.
Right. Pablo, one thing I actually wanted to bring up in this segment is, at the beginning of the year, we were talking about how if Reeves could start getting some of those Ryan Young 12 to 15 minutes a game, we'd be in a great spot. Obviously, Reeves is out, and he hasn't played all year. Maybe it's Sean Stewart is the guy that's going to kind of emerge and take some of those minutes.
Yeah, I mean, shit. That's what I feel like that's what it's trending towards right now. You know what I'm saying? We don't obviously, Reeves is out, and I don't foresee him playing at all this season. So, no, I mean, like I said, if the development happens fast, or at the pace that it's going, and he just keeps progressing, for sure. He can get those minutes and, hopefully, do some positive things on the floor while he's out there. It's not like the kid can't play. He's a good player. You know what I mean? It's just all about, at this point, it's just all about, fit, his role and an opportunity. So, if he can do that, you know what I'm saying? I think
Absolutely.
we'll be in a good space, man. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so obviously very positive news about Sean Stewart. We're looking forward to him continuing to progress. We got a couple games coming up. Saturdays is a big one at home, 4 o'clock against Clemson. Um, Luckily, it's not on the CW, so we're good there. So on ESPN, but Clemson started out well. They started out well. They kind of hit a little bit of a bump, but it's not only Duke that hits a little bit of a bump in the road. But AC, talk about Clemson, how they play, not just how dirty they are, but how they play.
Well, I mean, that's how they play, though, right? Like, this is a light version of what we saw with Tennessee last year, man. Outside of the flat out assault that we had against Tennessee, motherfucker, if he was anywhere else other than a basketball court, would have been arrested for some of the stuff that was happening on the court. This is how Clemson plays, man. So this is yet another test, and I think it's yet another test that we pass. I don't by no means do I think this is gonna be an easy game. Clemson is as inconsistent as it comes, and they can't defend the three. They're not a great 3-point defense team, but they do kind of play in this. They play like a pack line-ish type of defense where they it's kind of 3-point funnel. So they don't let you get easy twos. So getting twos is one of the ways to win games. It's gonna be tough to get twos this game. I think the short roll is really gonna be it's gonna be utilized a lot. We're gonna play this game kind of like we play UVA. So operating off the wings, operating off the elbows, free throw line extended, and getting that short roll action is going to be big this game. And then looking for those shooters. We're playing in Cameron, so we'll be able to shoot. So I think we get the win out of this one. I think it's possible to get a double-digit win out of this game because I think we can defend what they do. They don't have big guards. They do have what's the big kid's name? The perimeter. No, not Shiflin.
Wiggins.
PJ Hall.
Yeah, Wiggins. Chauncey Wiggins. Hall goes. PJ Hall goes without saying. That dude is first team All ACC caliber player, monster, and he's plays inside out. Like he everything PJ Hall does is gold. I like that kid a lot. He's a really good player. I liked him when we briefly recruited him as coming out of high school. So he's a monster. But just some of the things that they do with him and Shiflin work together well in that two big lineup, and then you have Wiggins and some of the other guards who can shoot, Chase Hunter, those guys. So this is going to be a test for our defense, which I like. I like testing our defense in January like this. And I think they've had a week to prepare for us. Cool. That's fine. We've had enough days to prepare for Clemson. We'll be all right.
Yeah, they average almost 81 points a game, Pablo. They shoot 36% from three as a team. Gerard obviously shoots extremely well, 42%. But they're not, they do a lot of really good things. I think it's going to be a real test for us. What do you see happening?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it is going to be a good test. I think they match up with us well. I mean, I think we have better guard play. I think they have more depth in their front court. And that's the only thing that's kind of worrisome. And some rugged dudes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they do it. And the thing about Clemson too is that they're a really, really good passing team. You know what I mean? They pass from the post too. They throw it inside and guys cut and they just make really good passes. So they got some aware guys out there. So I think at the end of the day, though, if we play our game, we play like Duke. And we moving the ball. We play we moving the ball like, and it's a lot of, a good amount of open shots, and we stick them. We should be fine, man. Like I don't really see us losing. You know what I'm saying? But I can see a world to where it can definitely fucking happen if we come out flat against them. Because once they get on a roll and get confident, you know what I mean? That's all that happens. And it just takes one little dive at the knees from like Shefflin or somebody to change the complexion of the game.
No doubt.
What I mean? Just, it's a hustle play, but
right.
He just took out like 3 guys, you know what I mean? In one play. So we just got to minimize stuff like that, man. We can't let them get confident and, hit shots early. We got to make everything tough on them. And I'm thinking that we might even, at a certain time, man, we might even have to double the post, depending on, who's got the ball. I mean, I'm not so much worried about Shefflin, but like if Flip picks up some early stupid fouls,
I was going to keep him out of foul trouble. You might double the post a little bit.
yeah, and
You might double
that's
it.
why I say, you know what I'm saying? You don't want him to pick up those stupid ass fouls.
Yeah.
So you just want to get the ball out of his hands, you know, and make other guys beat you. You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
offensively, they got who? Paul, Wiggins, and I don't even know who else scores a lot on that team.
I mean,
Man. I haven't
keep
really
Joe
watched.
Girard from being opportunistic, right? Like he's gonna stand around the perimeter and he's gonna wait for PJ Hall to pass out of the double team. He's gonna shoot a three. So you don't let him go nuts.
We just got to run him off the 3-point line.
This smells like a Jalen Blake's game to me. It just smells like not Jalen Blake scoring a bunch of points. This smells like a Jalen Blake's flying all over the place, disrupting everything they want to do type of game to me. Like it smells like one of our freshman guards is probably going to struggle with the physicality of this game. And I feel like somebody like Jalen Blake's comes in and just helps solidify things. It just smells like a Jalen Blake's game to me.
Yeah, I see Mark Mitchell having a big game too. It's going to be interesting to see who they put on him as far as who's going to guard him. If they're going to start a front court of Shefflin and Hall. I don't know who they're going to put on him, but I can probably imagine that it'll probably be PJ Hall, and they probably put a bigger body
Shefflin on Flip.
Put a bigger body on Flip, just to try to,
and then double.
They're going to double. And I think that is advantageous to us, especially defensively. If Mitchell's locking up PJ Hall, who averages almost 20 a game, I think that'll be best for us. And there's no way the Shefflin can keep up with Flip. No way.
No, for sure. But like I said, the only thing I worry is just like some stupid
physicality.
play,
I agree.
You know what I'm saying, and just somebody falling on somebody, and then somebody getting hurt.
Falling.
Falling.
Quote unquote. Hustling.
Right.
Hustling.
And that's something you can definitely see. Like Flip has to be ready for that. He has to know damn well that that's going to happen. AC, do you have a prediction for me?
Yeah, it's gonna be a high scoring game. I feel like despite both teams having solid defensive play, they both have bugaboos on defense that are gonna allow the other team to score. I can see something like 87, 85. Like for real, like tight game down to the wire, high scoring type game, 87, 85.
Yeah, I'm going to go 84-79. I'm with you on that. I think it will be a little bit more high scoring. I do agree with Pablo. I think that, our team's going to have to step up physicality wise. It might be a little bit tough for one of our freshman guards. Pablo, I know you just want to win, right?
Yeah, I mean, my prediction. I don't give a fuck about no score. Duke, just win. You can win by half a goddamn point. It don't matter to me. Just win the fucking game. You know what I'm saying? And then we march forward. That's all. That's the bottom line.
That's it.
And march forward we will, AC. Your game. Here we go. Up in Blacksburg, Monday night, 7 p.m. I mean, do you want to sit this one out? I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, we're gonna talk about it. We got a job to do. I gotta be a professional. We gotta talk about it.
I was about to say AC compromised. Virginia Tech compromised.
Well, talk about your Hokies, man.
I mean, they'll be missing one of their guards, Rex Steiner. If you're a wrestling fan, Big Papa Pump's son, Scott Steiner, his son.
Oh wow, I had no idea. Wow.
Yep. Okay. So he's a dude. He's a beast too. Like the kid is strong. He's got the Papa Pump genes. But so they'll be out. They're gonna be playing like 7 players, so they'll be down. And they are also doing a Saturday Monday just like us. So the Saturday Monday, tough slate, tough back to back. But this is what you got to do in a tournament: 2-day rest or 1-day rest. So obviously you got to travel to Blacksburg for it. Luckily, it's not too far from where we'll be in Clemson. But Tech's gonna be looking for the 3. Hunter Couture is going to be looking for his shot, of course. Sean Padula is going to be looking for his shot, of course. You can get Padula in foul trouble, especially taking him to the rack. They got a big named Lynn Kidd that really has been having a really good season, but Filipowski, I'll take Filipowski over him all day. So you got to outmuscle them. You got to outmuscle them. We were talking about this before the podcast started. Pablo was bringing this up. You got to outmuscle them, man. You got to outstrength Tech, and you can because they don't have a lot of strength. On the interior, they don't have a lot of strength in the guard position. So you got to be opportunistic with what you get and just take it to them strength wise. So I think we can do that. You heard it. I think we can do that. Mike Young is for sure going to double and triple the post anytime Flip gets it low. So a Mark Mitchell game is coming for sure. Maybe even a Sean Stewart type of game. Maybe this is the game where you see him starting to work some lobs and stuff. I feel like Clemson's gonna be a tough game for Sean, I feel like Tech could be a good bounce back game for Sean because they don't have anybody who can really hang with him athletically. And that's something that you can see. BC kind of did it with the Harris kid that they have. That kid's super athletic, and they kind of stayed in that game just based on his athleticism alone. So I think Sean Stewart can add that for us. So I'd see this as a win for for Duke. I really do. 74-57. I think Tech will have I think they'll have trouble scoring on Duke. I really do. We have the size in the guard position. We defend the three well enough. If we don't let Hunter Couture go nuts, it's a totally different game. And he has a tendency to do that.
Who starts on Couture?
Rese. Yeah. I think you start Rese on Couture because he's got the size. Couture 6'3", Rese 6'5". I think you put him there, and he's a great perimeter defender. Teams have been able to chase Hunter Couture off the line this season a little bit, so I think you see us kind of implementing the same thing. We'll be able to go one-on-one with them position for position, so there's no need for like doubling and all that shit. So we should be able to take that game straight forward.
Yeah, Pablo, what do you see?
Yeah, no, I'm with AC on that one. I just think that we really got the blueprint to beat Virginia Tech. You saw last year where Tyrese Proctor completely shut down Hunter Couture, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's just, he just was all in his jersey, you know what I'm saying? He just ran him off the 3-point line. He just pretty much face guarded him and just didn't let him, didn't let him get the ball. And when he did get the ball, he made him put the ball on the floor because Hunter Couture wants to get shots up. He wants to get jumpers up. So best thing to do, make him put it on the floor. He can't beat Tyrese off the dribble. So, it's advantageous for Duke to do that. As long as we keep Sean Padula. If you shut down Hunter Couture, I'm not really worried about the game at that point because, obviously he's the head of the snake, but Sean Padula is also a player. And he's probably going to give us a couple fits. But, depending on who guards him, I could see us, starting with Jeremy on him. If Jeremy plays, we'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. I know one thing. They can't fucking guard us. So I ain't worried about that
and
shit.
They're going to have a dogfight the game before us, too. Just like we're going to have a tough game against Clemson. They got to play Georgia Tech. That's going to be a dogfight for them, too. It's going to be this is like that Miami game where I don't even think Miami played on that Saturday before when they beat the shit out of us last year on that Monday turnaround. Like this is not the same thing, in my opinion. This is a different animal.
Yeah, one thing that they have going for them is that they're playing both of these games, Saturday and Monday at home. Obviously, we get the one game at home, and then we got to go up there. But look, I mean, my point is like, hey, you got to be that team,
Yep.
Obviously, we're still going to lose a couple games, the rest of the way. But I'd like to see us say, enough's enough. Everybody's expecting us to have a letdown in this game. It's a bit whiteout, sellout, in Blacksburg. It doesn't matter. It's just going to find a way to win. I think they will, 75-70. That's, what I think we're going to do up in Blacksburg. You said it's a little easier to shoot there than it used to be?
It is. They changed the seats, so it's a little easier to shoot there. The lights are better now. Like it's brighter in there. You can see. You can like look at your hand and see your fingers and shit in the Castle Coliseum now. It used to be so different. Yeah, no, it's still not a great gym to shoot in. It's still a terrible gym to shoot in. But however, Virginia Tech also has not been shooting well at home either. So, and I was wrong. Miami did have a Saturday.
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
Either way, Virginia Tech has not shot well at home this season. From three, they really haven't like quite a scap. Like they shot better on the road in most cases, other than a game they shot over 50% against Clemson. So,
but you had to say it. So now you know what they're gonna do. Now you know.
I ain't worried about it. 100%. I'm not worried about it.
All right. Well, like we said, Jack D, they'll be back on the next podcast. We'll do a recap of what happened this weekend. Clemson, Virginia Tech on Monday night. And then AC, it's go to South Carolina time.
UNC week, baby.
I mean, we're going to get all into it. UNC week's one of our favorite weeks of the year.
Coaches' Corners.
Luckily, we get it twice. So we had another coach.
Probably have a UNC guest on. We'll probably have somebody representing UNC on the podcast with us.
Hate to hear that.
Do a little back and forth action.
Oof, that's going to be ugly. But anyway, hey, look, Duke. I got to take care of business on Saturday first. And then I got to take care of business up in Blacksburg. And then we head over to Chapel Hill. Let's go, Duke.
Let's go, baby. Duke. Hey, y'all. Y'all know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe on Patreon. Subscribe on YouTube. Everywhere you get your podcasts. You know how to do it. Instagram. We're all over the place. Twitter. You see our handles on here. Come on with the 5-point play. You know who it is. Like, y'all know you get your good information. If you want spoiler alerts, come on over here. If you want other stuff, go wherever else you go. I'm not gonna say anything else. You go to what it is. 5-point play podcast. Let's go, Duke.